Let's talk about emotional flooding in the playroom, and specifically when our child clients emotionally flood. So, what am I talking about? I'm talking about a moment where something occurs. Maybe the child had a memory about something. Maybe the child was playing with something and for whatever reason, there was a lot of activation. Maybe we said something. Maybe there was an interaction. Maybe the child touched the sand and they connected to their body and it was like, whoa, whatever happened in that moment, it was just too much. That's what emotional flooding means. That whatever happened in the moment in the nervous system, it just registers as too much and therefore has a hard time getting integrated. Now, as I'm saying this, I want you to hear something really important. Emotional flooding is normal. It's normal. It happens. It's not something that we need to avoid. It's not something that we need to be afraid of. We emotionally flood, our child clients emotionally flood. This video is about what do we do when it actually happens. So here we are, we're having a moment with our child clients, we're in our session and something happens and now our client is emotionally flooded. What that looks like. Maybe the child just went into high sympathetic activation and all of a sudden the aggression is going through the roof, or they're going into a high anxiety response where they almost seem like they are frozen in anxiety, or maybe they are just shutting down and withdrawing and they can't make eye contact and they're getting smaller and smaller and really moving towards a high level of immobilization. They're outside their window of tolerance, they're moving towards emotional flooding. Okay, so it happens. What do we do? There is only one task at hand in these moments, and that is to create what we call a neuroception of safety. As we create a neuroception of safety, we allow the child to be able to come back into themselves so that they can then have access to the regulatory system inside of their own body. So how do we do this? Well, the first thing is to understand that in these moments, our child clients need our nervous system. So what does that mean? When the child floods, let's take a breath. Let's take a breath. Let's ground ourselves. Let's connect to ourselves because we're also likely going to be activated as we see our child clients flood. So let's connect with ourselves, let's ground, let's access our own regulatory system in the midst of this dysregulation that we are experiencing. In these moments, our clients can now borrow our nervous system. The next step is whatever it takes to create a sense of safety, whatever it takes to help the child get back into their window of tolerance. There's no script, everyone. I wish I could sit here in this video and tell you, here's the script. There is no script. You trust your intuition, you get creative. Maybe you switch gears and let's go get a drink of water, or let's go outside. Maybe you sit there quietly and take deep breaths. Maybe you ask the child a question, maybe something like, wow, I've never noticed your shoes before. They've got sparkles on them. Tell me about your shoes. Now, they may or may not be able to actually talk depending on how flooded they are or not, but you're getting the gist of what I'm saying here, is that we do whatever it takes to help them get back into their window of tolerance. What you're not hearing me say is start talking a lot and asking a lot of questions and trying to get them to help you understand what they need. When a child floods, remember, they're saying too much. So as we're creating a sense of safety, we don't want to add more. And likely the child's not in a particular part of the brain where if we're asking questions like, what do you need? How can I help you? Likely they can't answer that. So let's help our children out when they emotionally flood by first us connecting to ourselves, offering them our nervous system, and then doing whatever we need to do to create a neuroception of safety without adding more to the moment. Now, sometimes when they emotionally flood, stuff happens. Maybe they escalated and something broke. Maybe they said something that later they're like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have said that. So sometimes when emotional flooding happens, things happen. And the beauty is that afterwards, we get to come back and we get to do a repair. We get to support them in repair. We get to support ourselves if we're the ones that have emotionally flooded in the repair. Come back into relationship, come back into connection, keep going. Remember, emotional flooding, it's not bad. It happens. It just simply means that whatever happened in that moment was too much. We help the system realize and understand that it is safe in that moment. If we need to repair, we come back in and do the repair, come back into relationship, and keep going.